this is Editing KJ with a quick note that this episode was recorded before the WGA strike and the SAG-AFTRA strikes were resolved, and in some cases possibly before the strikes began. We're super happy to be back, so please enjoy this episode. For some of our people who don't know anything about Jewish culture, maybe explain what a mezuzah is.
Okay, I just Googled it. Wikipedia.
Google that, Ben.
Just to get the official translation. I mean, I could just grab one off my door, but I mean, yeah.
Get up and go get it, but I don't want to, but...
My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions. This week, we're going to be talking about Jupernatural. Content note for this episode, where we will be discussing anti-Semitism and Nazis as part of our discussion on Judaism and Supernatural. As always, a reminder that discussion episodes are open to all seasons and episodes, and this may contain spoilers from episodes including and beyond Season 4, Episode 4. I wrote Season 4 episode and didn't put a number, so I think 4 was where we were at. Season 4, Episode 4, Metamorphosis. And here with me today, as always, is Meredith. Meredith, please remind people who you are.
All right, my name is Meredith, and my pronouns are she, her, and I had a cold recently in the dead of summer. That was kind of weird.
I'm glad you've recovered.
Mostly.
And JJ, you've been here before, but it's been a little while, so please remind people who you are.
I'm JJ. I use they, them now.
It's Editing KJ here, and I just wanted to say that we recorded this over a year ago, and some things changed since then, and Jen now goes by she, they pronouns, not they, them pronouns, so I'm just making that correction before you continue on with enjoying this episode.
I am the host of, we're having a name change, so I'm just going to use the name change, the Judah Initiative, which is a Jupernatural and queer focused podcast, but I've been on hiatus. I have 2 seasons I'm re-recording right now, so it's hiatus for a minute.
Incredible. So yeah, that all happened. Ben, this is your first time with us, so please tell people who you are.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ben. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm here because I'm Jewish and I love Supernatural. I don't know really why I'm here.
To any of us.
But I'm very excited to have been invited.
You are one of my best friends, and we have just been talking for 2 years about Jupernatural. If there's anybody that I think can keep that conversation up and going, it is you. It is absolutely you.
Honored.
I'm very excited that you're here. How long have you been watching Supernatural for, Ben?
I've been watching it since season 13 was airing. So I watched all 12 seasons on Netflix, and then a week before season 13 was put on Netflix, I finished the show. It took me 4 months, I think. So yeah.
That's exciting. So fairly recently, but I guess now that's 4 or 5 years ago?
I mean, I was a freshman in high school, so that's insane to me.
Just a baby.
Yeah.
But that's exciting. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I would just like to say off the top of this episode that I am not Jewish at all.
You are in the Jewish, so me and Ben have a tiny little Supernatural discourse and you are the token goy in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I hang out, I learn a lot. I don't know what's happening half the time, and I love it. I was pretty much raised without religion. We were Christmas and Easter church attenders, and that stopped when I was a child. I haven't been to a church in a very long time for anything besides a wedding or a funeral. I had to Google my church to see what our denomination was. So that's where I'm at. So I'm just here to facilitate conversation at this point. I'm not here to provide any information in this episode. I'm just here to learn stuff and ask questions and, hopefully be funny every once in a while. That's my, I'm here to entertain.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I think that people who are not Jewish, and even people who are Jewish who aren't noticing it. A lot of times in conversations about Supernatural, they'd be like, oh, I remember this or I remember that. It's like, yeah, that is a part of it. So absolutely, that is, I feel like that is a conversation. Like if you notice anything, absolutely speak up about it, because we love to see people who aren't Jewish to be like, hey, I noticed this Jewish thing and that's really cool, you know?
I should probably say that I'm actually not Jewish either. I am, unlike KJ, I'm actually an active Christian, so it's a very different perspective.
So yeah, we have the full spread.
Oh yeah, we just need a Muslim person here. Let's get the whole Abrahamic spread.
I got some Muslim cousins, you know.
There we go. I have Muslim friends, but I don't think they watch Supernatural.
Anyway, let's get into this. I feel like we're just delaying the discussion-y bits. But let's start by talking about like what Supernatural is and like why we want to talk about it. JJ, please plug your podcast some more.
My podcast is the Judah Initiative, has been a name change, which I go over the Jewishness and the queerness of Supernatural. This started because I wrote what started as an essay that turned into a book. It's not released. I will never release it. I'm so sorry, Ben. I know you want to read it.
Read it.
Talking about the Jewishness of Supernatural. Supernatural is just Jewish Supernatural. It's Jewish, and a lot of the early writers are Jewish, and there's just so many Jewish themes throughout this show that it, you know, from simple things like Dean knowing a lot of Yiddish a lot of Yiddish, and him knowing what J-date is, to a lot of symbolism, like how they are with Chuck, and the whole defying God stuff. There's just so much here. It's just the community, seeing representation of yourself within these characters is really cool. And Jupernatural is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really cool theories, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Kripke's Jewish, Sarah Gamble's Jewish, Ben Edlund is Jewish. Is there any other like major people, like the big names that people know in the writers' room and behind the scenes?
I usually just bring up Kripke because of like a lot of the Jewish symbolism in the first few seasons that he was mostly involved in. But yeah.
Supernatural was once described as a hotbed of Jewish communists, which I absolutely love that. Like,
it sounds like a compliment.
I don't know who said that, but it's great. So obviously, like, there's a big influence there, because like they're writing all of these episodes and these characters, and like especially Eric Kripke and Sarah Gamble as like showrunners are like creating like a through thread throughout their seasons. But yeah, like what kind of like influence do you think that has on this show versus like other shows?
Like if a Jewish writer is writing, there's going to be influence. Like you can see the influence even like in my fics, probably like my non-Supernatural fics. Like there's influence there. And I think one of the big things that people take away is like, well, there's all these Christian themes. Yeah, but they really went off with that spooky stained glass aesthetic. And you can tell in many cases that like, yes, it has these Christian themes, but it's written by a Jewish person in many cases. And they keep that feel from their early seasons. You can take inspiration from other faiths when you are writing your fictional story, you know? It's still cool. You know, we're not the only religion that has like really cool stories that can be used in Supernatural. And I like that fact. And so you get to see these Christian ideals and symbolism kind of very much written through a Jewish lens in many cases, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best thing to do from here is just to get it off of our plate. Let's talk about like the explicitly Jewish plotline of the Thule and Aaron Bass.
Aaron is my bestie.
I love Aaron so much. So we gotta talk about the real Thule. First of all, of course, like big trigger warning for like anti-Semitism.
Yes,
and like Nazis. So the Thule Society.
Yeah. So fun fact, I didn't know that the Thule Society was a real thing until like 2 days ago when I was like doing some research, and I was like, holy shit, these people were real. Like this wasn't just something that Supernatural made up. Like these are very real, like Nazi underground group that was intent on like, they were a little bit into necromancer. I think they also did a lot of like medical science, like experimentation, and just really fucked up stuff. I'm sorry, am I allowed to curse?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, feel free.
It was very real, and they were like Ben said, this occultist Nazi group. You know, and they did like, there's when you look into the weird occultist stuff within the Nazis and that what Hitler was doing, it's weird, but it also borders on like massive conspiracy theory with stuff, which yes, you guys probably know, but conspiracy theories, you have to be really careful because a lot of them are very anti-Semitic. And like I love conspiracy theories, but then like there's like this like you think you're reading something that's not. It's like, oh, okay, they're blaming this on us. So
never mind, you're just rude.
No, but I love the full episode is great. I love Golem so much, and I love Aaron, and I love the episode where Dean kills Hitler. I know a lot of people hate it because it's just kind of meh, but just his absolute joy.
Yeah, those boys fucking hate Nazis.
And just bragging about it nonstop the next like season or two, just like I killed Hitler, just mentioning that anytime you could.
Telling people, like, I love that so much. I love that so much. And I think, like, when it comes to Aaron and the Golem, I have to, like, separate my own headcanons versus reality. Because, like, Golem is, like, he doesn't really talk too much. But, like, when I think of him, like, he's, like, talking and, like, patting Jack on the head and, like...
Just being, like, a really cool uncle. Like, just, yeah. Like, he's just...
See him as, like, kind of like a weird uncle that kills people for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely remember the first time I was watching that episode, and basically anytime anything that isn't like, you know, about Western, like, white culture, like especially Christian based Western white culture, I'm always a little bit nervous about how the show handles it until I've viewed the episode and can say one way or another how well they did. But like, I will say one thing for Supernatural is like they never faltered on the Nazis are bad like tagline. They stuck with that. They were not once apologists.
The only time that I can really say they were is, what is the weird Frankenstein family?
Oh, the Steins.
Gosh, there's so much. That was so weird.
They were working like with Nazis. They were Nazis. It was a whole thing, and it really wasn't handled.
I forgot that.
I'm sorry. I'm a Dean apologist all the way, and I think that him killing that kid was perfectly like good. I don't care if he wasn't like wanting to be part of the family. That kid was a Nazi. He was born of Nazis. Like, I just do not.
I forgot that was even a part of their family. I remember their family sucked for so many reasons.
I don't care how good you think you are still a Nazi, and it's justified. Like, to me, it is. Like,
they could have been such cool villains if, you know, they weren't badly written and Nazis.
a Nazi.
Because at the end of the day, they're not really all that different from the Thule in like concept. Like it's like, oh, they're a family versus like the Thule. Or I mean, the Thule also were like a family thing. Like,
yeah,
the Thule's like a brotherhood.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know if I've talked to you about this, Ben, but part of the reason why I'm kind of like don't like the Thule is that how people who are not Jewish and people who are Jewish portray Nazis is very different. And so a lot of times people who aren't Jewish will specifically they'll like be like, oh well, it's not a Nazi, it's, you know, it's the Empire or it's a Death Eater, and it's Nazis. Say what it is, it's a Nazi. That's where the ideology came from, it's where the aesthetic came from, and they'll paint them in the picture of them being the cool guys. They're the bad guys, but they're cool, you know, they're cool. And we don't do that, you know.
No, there's
more of us making fun of them and like making them to be ridiculous. And I think that's like a lot of Jewish humor with Nazis is quite funny because we have a different sense of how we go about things. I don't like making the Thule or the Nazis to be cool. And I'm very glad that Supernatural didn't make them to be these like badass guys who are really cool. It really sucked. These are the bad guys. These are Nazis, and absolutely fuck every single last one of them. They are not cool. And I really did appreciate that.
Right. Especially because like the Winchesters as a family, they don't necessarily, like, from how they're portrayed, like they don't have a very specific like connection to the Nazis. As far like Aaron has a connection to the Nazis, his grandfather and all that, like they don't have that same connection, but they still were very empathetic and very like understood, and like they were just very like, oh, fuck these guys, like let's go kill them, like let's go. It was just interesting.
I like that. It is. And, you know, we could have very easily gotten the Thule being set up to look kind of cool in the sense that that's what they do. That's what they do. And it's horrible. But we didn't get that. They didn't write them to be cool or anything.
Yeah. I wonder if some of that is like people being afraid to like make any sort of joke about it. And then like they go for, okay, we're just going to be like really serious and scary. And like that become them being cool because they're like trying to go for scary.
I think a lot of people who aren't members of any sort of like marginalized group are very scared to joke about the things that those groups face because, well, it's not really their thing to joke about.
You know, on the opposite side of it, like me and Ben, like we've cracked jokes all the time. We in our server that we're in, we have a
what's coming.
We made so many. So we asked for Jewish jail. It was our thing. It was not like, oh, we're going to put the Jews in jail, but it was our thing that we wanted. We also have a role called roast beef reclaimers.
Yeah.
Jewish roast beef reclaimers. So we found out it's not like originally Jewish, but it should be. It's ours. Like we're reclaiming it. So
We made it better.
we have this jail because we crack jokes so much that like everybody else is just like, can we laugh?
Like everybody was uncomfortable with our jokes.
Are we allowed to laugh? Are we allowed to like say something? And most of the time we're like, no, don't laugh at this. This is just for us. We're like, oh yeah, you can laugh. We give you permission to laugh. But everybody in the group's like completely like anti-Semitism, you know, like they're pro everything. They're super cool. So
yeah.
Just our humor is different, you know. Many of us
we're allowed to make jokes about like the Holocaust stuff.
Well, and I think and joking about like trauma is a way to cope with it as well. So it's valid.
And a lot of people, you know, we're funny, like we are, and that's something not to be ashamed. Like we should talk about. We are funny, you know.
So many of the top comedians like through the last few decades have been Jewish, and like we're good. Like,
please send me all of your Jewish comedian recommendations as well. Just fill my inbox this week. I want all the recommendations. I feel like I had another thing to say about Bethul and Aaron, but it fell out of my brain. So
I did want to mention one more thing. I did like how tasteful the Nazi storyline was. They didn't it wasn't super intense, and they also didn't make it such a big thing. Like a Nazi storyline in TV and media can be very stereotypical, and that was it was a pretty good little storyline. I would have loved to see more of the Thule, but it could have easily been overplayed, and it wasn't. But it still would have been nice to see more of Aaron.
Yes, more Aaron.
Aaron specifically.
He was amazing. I would watch a whole sitcom with him.
Oh gosh, yes. It's also really nice that Aaron's storyline is that he kind of fell away, and this was his coming back to it, and that is good revelation, because that happens to so many people. You know, Judaism isn't this total monolith. We're not all from, and we're not all not everybody's observant. I know Ben and mine's observant is different. We're not a monolith, and sometimes people fall out and they come back, and that's okay.
We literally call it going off the derech, going off the path, and then you can come back, and you can just go with the flow and do whatever feels right for you, and we just vibe, you know?
Yeah, I feel like you see that kind of storyline all the time in Christian media, probably because Christianity is just so prevalent here. But then there's this weird assumption that in every other religion aside from Christianity, everyone is the same, and they are all super observant of their religion, which is really weird.
They do it with Christianity too. I feel a lot of times it's a different meaning and reasoning, because I feel a lot of times when you see it with Christians in media, and of course this isn't with Christians in real life a lot of times, but it's oh, you know, I'm coming back because I've sinned and I've done these things and I need God and Jesus back in my life. But with us, a lot of times it's the fact that we are not just a religion, we are a culture. We are cultures upon cultures within us, because we are all over the world and there's so many of us, and it coming back into that culture many times for people, and very much so with Aaron, I believe. And I love that. Though the one thing I do want to know, I want to know what he wrote, because I want to know what Aaron's Hebrew name is.
Our own?
I mean, probably.
He might have a middle name.
He might have a middle name, but it's a fun time to my Hebrew name is Castiel. So that's
delightful.
Cool.
Yeah, we can totally transition into talking about names now.
Yes, that was an excellent transition. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Let's talk about naming.
Are kind of this weird interest of mine. So a lot of names can go back to the English, what they were saying in England, and that goes back to Hebrew a lot of times. A lot of names come from biblical origins, the name John. Originally wasn't John, but basically every name you can have means John. Jensen, my name, and Ackle's name is son of John.
Oh yeah, you look at there's a version of John in lots of different cultures, like Hans and all that.
It's really interesting to go and look at the Hebrew origins of many characters' names and how is a character. And I've always found that really interesting. So found to get the stuff.
Yes, please use whatever notes you want.
Going by starting with Samuel, it is God has heard, name of God. But we're gonna do God has heard, stuff like that. God, like he prays. He's the one that prays, the one that prayed more. He's the one that listened more, and he had a vastly different reaction to the reveal of Chuck being God than Dean did.
Very different.
So I feel like very different, and we will get into that because two totally different points of views. Dean, it's Din, isn't it?
Yeah.
It also goes into what we think his Hebrew name is, but Dean is very righteous. He's the righteous man, and he represents like this justice in the world of the supernatural, of supernatural, and not like cops or anything. They're like that, of course, but like this wrong, Castiel, there is a big Tumblr post about like what Castiel's name should have been. So Castiel means shield of God, and it comes from Castiel, which is the archangel of Thursday and Saturn, I believe, too. So he is, there's Castiel is a real angel within like the grand mythos of the big three religions of the world, because they have this massive connection. So names are really interesting. And what was Jack? Because I know we looked up what Jack was.
I'll also link that Tumblr post about cast name because I have it saved.
Somebody else can talk so I can Google
There's
this.
I think the most obvious one for Jack would probably be like Yaakov, just because like the kind of the origins, like Jack, Jacob, Yaakov, like that kind of succession. But I'm sure there's more that other people have come up with. I saw one the other day that I don't remember if it was like just somebody on Tumblr, like a fic or something like it was, but they said that like I think it was a headcanon, they headcanon pass as calling Jack Yunk, which is also pretty similar. Yeah, there's people have a bunch of different ideas, so
means God is gracious, which, because when you compare it to Chuck, which Chuck comes from Charles, which means free man. Like, this is like just all speculation and like a headcanon. Like this was so not written.
That there was any thought put into it by the writers.
Dean was not named for the righteousness. Sam was not named for that. This is just like a coincidence that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
I know I have a Tumblr post about like all the names, like the meanings and how it relates to their character, and that is really cool. So
I think it's also indicative of who we are as Jews, because names and Hebrew names especially are very meaningful and have a lot of power in Judaism, and like a lot of thought usually goes into what you name your kids, or as us, like as trans people having like chosen our own names. So yeah.
I think like I chose my Hebrew name to be Castiel because not just he represents it's this love I have for this character and attention.
Yeah.
I have to be, even if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know in my heart that I am at least doing what I think is what needs to be done, and I have the best intention, even when I am wrong. And that is so important. And not only that, but him being change. But then he did change, and he told Dean that. Cass didn't change for the worse. He changed for the better. He grew as a person, and he learned to love so much and to care so much. And that's something that I think that I should strive to be, and I think we all should strive to be. And so choosing the name Castiel isn't just like, oh, I like this character. It was, this character represents this, and this is what I strive to be. And this is important to me, is who I am as a person and who I am as a Jew.
Really nice.
Makes sense.
I feel like Castiel would be so honored by everything you just said too. Is there any other name stuff we want to talk about?
We covered Dean, we covered Sam, Jack, Cass, Chuck. Who else is there that like
ones like just how their names
what about
relate?
Mary's?
I mean, John and Mary, those are both biblical names.
Those John and Mary are just like
I don't think we've ever really talked about them because we're not big fans of John.
Mary. Okay,
I like
so
Mary as well.
Well, Mary is like very more of a New Testament thing, I think.
The episode that is coming out tonight, there's a segment in it that is me trying to convince August and Meredith and Beth that Bobby should have just like murdered John and taken his kids.
I don't remember which episode that was, but I believe that happened.
Not big John fans. I totally get it.
Mary, so John basically means like God has been gracious, but Mary comes from like Miriam, which just a quick Google search will tell you like it means like drop of the sea, bitterness, or beloved. So that's as far as it. I don't see how it relates. So like the main ones are like Team Free Will and everything, how relates. So
I mean,
but
Mary
it's
was
still
John's beloved, and the reason behind his whole crusade and dragging his kids across the country in search of Azazel and all that. So there's a connection.
yeah, and like
Excellent.
a drop of the sea can be something that like a tiny drop leads to something catastrophic.
Yeah,
And
that
Maybe if she
feels
had some
apt.
water with her, she wouldn't have burned on the ceiling.
No.
that is true.
I was gonna say my assumption is that she was just named after Mary, mother of Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like she's a mother, and that's kind of like her whole thing at the beginning of the series is that she's a mother.
What's really interesting about that is that you can put back like the Virgin Mary back to Mary, because the Virgin Mary is within like the theology and mythology of Christianity. She is the most seen like throughout all of Christianity and like all the different sects. Like people love Mary, you know, and she's like seen the most, and like people have visions of her more, and they kept bringing Mary back, you know, like they see Mary a couple times. It wasn't just when she came back, they saw her multiple times, and she just kept coming back within the show, whether it be flashbacks or ghost or whatever, or her coming back. She did come back a lot. And I think that naming her after the Virgin Mary is, yes, it is leaving that that Jewishness of it, but that is a very cool thing. Because there's like, even like if we take outside of Jupernatural and we look at like the Christian themes of it, there's so much cool stories within Christianity like that, like people seeing Mary and praying to her. That's cool, and I like that being included because that's pretty cool to me that it relates.
Yeah, I mean,
That made
John
no
and
sense.
Mary also like some of the most common names that could possibly. They're some of the most generic.
Yeah.
John especially. I think it's
Oh
like
my gosh.
one of the like top 5 names in the US like every year or something like that.
Your name probably at one point was
Yeah.
it really like, even names like Elizabeth can turn into John.
Oh yeah,
Roots in John, yeah.
a lot of men in my family are named John. It's like a family tradition.
Jacks and stuff like that. So
Grandpa went by Jack. His name was John, and my brother goes by Jack, and his name is John. Honestly, I do a lot of research on like historical and everything. And if you do like any research at all in like any part of like England, there's every 5th person is like John or Mary, and it's so confusing. Just pick different names, guys. I'm trying to distinguish all of you.
I mean, it's the same with like Jewish families. We just recycle names.
I kind of like that though. It's nice.
names. We got to talk about the Campbells.
Yes, do it.
So this is your thing, Ben. Because you bring this up every time.
Moisha Campbell. I can never let him
Campbell, okay.
go.
Oh
This
my
man was
god.
mentioned in one episode. I think it was, I wrote it down, season.
It's the Henry episode. He's mentioned one time, right? And he's a man out of New fucking York City.
Okay. Supernatural Wiki. Moisha Campbell resided in New York in the early 20th century. He chronicled H.P. Lovecraft's attempt at creating a portal to other dimensions in his journal. While on the search for a way to open a door to purgatory, Castile stole the journal, which was at Bobby's place. Luckily, Bobby had made a copy of the journal for safekeeping. He was a member of the New York branch of the Campbell family. Okay, I don't know much about like non-Jewish families in general, but I'm just saying, Moisha, Hebrew name, Jewish name,
That is the most Jewish.
pinnacle.
My first thought when I hear that name.
It's a Jewish name.
That name.
So the
If
Campbells are
I meet
Jewish.
somebody with that name, I'm starting I'm not saying hello to you. I'm gonna be like, shalom, dude, what's up? Like, I know you are all me and you are dead.
As a non-Jewish person, I hear the name Moisha and I'm like, yeah, that person's Jewish.
I know exactly what kind of family you have.
I have an Uncle Moshe.
He is Jewish, and I will die on that hill. And he is a Campbell, meaning I fully believe that Mary is Jewish.
1,000%. And if Mary is Jewish, then the Samantine are Jewish.
I hadn't really thought much about the Winchesters as having any particular religion until, honestly, I was reading John's journal and there was stuff in there and JJ was like, hey, here's some more information about this stuff that you're reading.
So the John journal is really interesting. So I think, before we get to that, I don't think that John is Jewish.
No, but the Campbells.
That is, I will never be able to convince me that he is Jewish.
We don't want
wanna
to claim him.
him.
How about that?
No, yeah, and no one should.
No one
and
does. No one does.
You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to claim him.
In the John journal, he does talk a lot about, like, there's a lot of Jewish themes in there, but very specifically, he talks about, like, the Torah and, like, numbers, which are a big
So many
thing within
numbers.
Judaism. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Is it like the book of numbers or numbers? I haven't actually read John's journal.
Like,
Okay.
numerology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
check.
So right at the bat, we gotta like talk about the lineage of like Judaism, of you. The majority of people, if your mother is Jewish, you are Jewish.
Okay.
Not every denomination believes this. Some people believe that if your father is Jewish, you can be Jewish too. Personally, I don't really care. It's not for up me to say who is a Jew. Of course, I have my opinions like the Jews for Jesus. Absolutely not.
Messianic Jews?
Yeah, which no, absolutely not. But I don't really care. If somebody comes to me and is like, I'm Jewish because my father's Jewish, I'm not going to be absolutely like, no, that's not. I'm not your rabbi. I don't care.
Exactly.
You know, but
any connection that you want to have, go for it.
Mary being Jewish isn't just, you know, this guy from like the 20s. It's the main headcanon is that Mary was Jewish. John was not, and John didn't raise the boys to be Jewish. And that's a big way of thinking for it. And it also leads to the fact that, like, you know, the headcanon that we have that, like, Dean, you know, he's 4 years old, he has only known a Jewish life and that he's thrown from it. And him learning like Hebrew on his own and teaching Sam how to do all these things and how to pray and, you know, and all this stuff. And it's just also there's the place.
So that would mean like he didn't just lose his mother, he lost his only connection to a very like rich and old culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's your mother, it's your faith, it's your culture, it's your people. This disconnect, you know. There was that disconnect and the coming back. And I think with Dean reacts to Chuck and the angels and to prayer as compared to Sam. I think it's different how they were raised. I think Dean was thrown from it and had to come back on his own volition. He had to do everything on his own, but he raised Sam and he made sure that Sam knew who he was. He knew his culture and knew that he was Jewish. And why Sam's observance is so different. The one that prayed, and his react was, oh my gosh, like it's an angel. And to Chuck it was more of awe, whereas Dean was anger. I think Sam, he's, you know, observant, and Dean is, while he is observant, especially later on in life, he is an atheist. And I just want him so badly to look Chuck in the face and be like, I do not believe in you, because that's perfect.
I mean, that's like the biggest fuck you could really say to Chuck at any point.
I should definitely write a fic where like he does that, like in Inherit the Earth, and Chuck's on his knees, and then him just turning around to Jack once he's like has those powers and be like, I believe in you, because that is just a power move. Gosh, like just look God in the eyes and be like, I don't believe you is the most decoded thing you could ever think of, and it is so Jewish. Like, I love that man.
Before we get too far from the Campbells, I want to talk about the Winchesters, the show.
I should probably go.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, but have fun talking about the Winchesters.
We will.
I haven't seen it, so I can't really contribute anything, but see you later.
Bye. We're going to keep inviting her here.
Okay, cool. It was nice to meet you, Ben.
It was nice to meet you too. Thank you.
I know JJ didn't watch the Golem episode.
I chose not to watch it after finding out that it was kind of so. And that was for my own mental health, because I do not like to watch things with anti-Semitism in it, even if it's not intentionally anti-Semitic. So I have nothing to say about that episode because I did not see it.
I did watch it. I don't really remember it.
That's also valid.
Probably should have rewatched that.
Of course, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that in the Golem episode, the Golem or somebody else got put into another.
It was the Golem.
Yeah. I don't like that. That is not healing generational trauma. So
yeah, if you listen to my other podcast, sorry, I hate plugging myself. But if you did listen to our episode about that episode of the Winchesters, you know, we did the best that 3 non-Jewish people could to talk about why that was problematic, and we just overall didn't enjoy that aspect of the episode. Was there anything else from like the rest of the show that was like supported any of your headcanons, spawned new headcanons, pointed to Jewishness in the life of Samuel and or Mary Campbell?
You also have to remember that these are different writers, these are different showrunners.
Absolutely.
I don't consider the Winchesters to be fully Jupernatural. In my own headcanons, absolutely yes, but within the canon, no. We also have to remember this is an AU. This is not our John.
Oh yeah, definitely not even. Yeah, not even our Mary or our Samuel Campbell. Not that we enjoy Samuel Campbell, but
the only thing that we get is it is our Henry.
Yeah,
it is our Henry.
Sort of, kind of,
same actor. We love Gil.
Damn, I totally forgot about this. I'm rewatching the clip right now from the Winchesters.
I will say Mary identified that Golem very quickly. She knew exactly what that was.
I think that maybe Mary's Jewish, maybe she just knows a lot, but
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be abnormal for her to just know about things that she could come across.
But I mean, even still, like golems are like very like they're not really talked about, at least in like the circles that I've been in. I had to do a lot of research on my own, like for this and just in general about golems because like we don't really talk about them. They're kind of cool.
I feel like I've seen them in pop culture enough times now that like I feel like maybe people could identify them and like have a vague idea of what they are and what they do, but
possible. I'm not very ingrained in pop culture, as JJ can attest to.
You see they pop up from time to time, and I think the Dybbuk shows up more. And the fucking Dybbuk box, holy! I'm glad Supernatural.
It has absolutely no connection to Jewish culture or anything. It was made up by some guy like 20, 30 years ago. It's not real. Yeah.
We can talk all day about the Dybbuk and spirits and stuff like that, but the Dybbuk box, the thing that holds, it's not real. It is not real, people. I don't give a fuck what Zach fucking Bagans says. That thing in his fucking,
Zach Bagans is
not real
asshole, so
it's not real. It's a hoax. I'm so glad that never showed up in Supernatural. Did it? Oh my god.
No, I don't
might
think
be
it
like,
did. I don't think it did.
Episode. I think like they're mentioned once, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of that. Not that I have a like photographic memory or anything. That I just remember everything that happened. But I do think that we were spared.
A while. Mary's bracelet. So you know the episode where Mary goes where Dean is like ends up going back.
Yeah, 403. We just covered it pretty recently.
So Mary's bracelet, you see what looks to be a Star of David. It is just because the Aquarius symbol is the men of letter symbol.
Yeah.
And I believe you later on see that there is a Star of David on it, which is protection sigils. That's what they're using it for. Oh, all these things are protection, but like,
You'll also see Star of David on the wall in Lazarus Rising when Castiel comes into the barn. Oh god, look up if you're like anybody listening, like just go Google the barn scene, okay? Because in Lazarus Rising, because like there's so many of them, there's so much Jewish symbolism in that barn. I'm wondering if like somebody was trying to make a pentagram and just messed up a bunch of times and made a bunch of Star of Davids.
No, I think it's intentional. I think that they were going for a variety of symbols from a variety of cultures, and like Bobby and Dean are throwing everything that they know that they can possibly think of at this.
20 Stars of David's there. Like there's so many. Like they're like I'm sorry, but like yeah, protection from everything. But no, Bobby's just like throwing up all this stuff. Like I'm trying to get my son a nice Jewish boy for this, and in walks Castiel. I think Castiel was the one that did it.
There is quite a lot. You're so right. I'm like looking at pictures of the barn right now, and
there's one right here. Okay, there's one, just a huge one. You can't even see it, but it's there.
Me and Ben talk about this. This is like our favorite thing. Like Bobby was just like being like, he just got back from hell. He's him a boy. Like he needs to get him a man. Let's give him a nice Jewish boy. And in walks the Jewishest angel of them all, Castiel. And oh, that's so good. That's so good. But explain why you wear a purple kippah.
Yeah, please tell me.
I only wear a black one. Explain why you wear a purple one.
Me specifically wear a purple one because I've just had it since I was 4 years old and I'm obsessed with it.
Purple is the best color. The shirt is purple. You can't tell in this lighting, but
I do also have a black one.
Oh, mine got thrown off earlier. I don't know where it is. I'm at home. I don't care.
I actually went and put it on just specifically for this.
I love that.
Because we had Ken and Jack wearing purple kippahs, and I just wrote a whole fic about it. But like,
oh, that's so cute.
I don't know why. I think he was a purple one. It's art.
I just influenced you.
Jack fanfics are so good.
I just love Jack, our little Jewish god.
Little thing.
I just like search in Discord purple kippah and it'll come up. I
feel like this is a good time to talk about Supernatural as like a fandom versus like the overall fandom.
I mean, as attesting as someone who like admins in the Jupernatural Discord server, it's not a very big thing. Right? Like if you
remember, I never advertised for that.
Yeah, it's small.
It's just a few of us because I've never like really posted about it. I think I did once.
Right. I mean, I do know like a few years ago somebody tried doing like a Jupernatural fic bang. It didn't really go anywhere. Yeah, like if you search on the Jupernatural tag on Tumblr, like it'll come up, but it's like the account has like been inactive for like a few years. There's not a whole lot of us.
I mean, like of course, like there's a lot of us who are Jewish that watch the show and enjoy it and are part of the fandom, but not all of us are part of Supernatural. I think there's so many different communities within Supernatural and the fandom. There's like within like look at us as like Hellers. There's like millions of different groups of us, and there's so many different groups. So it's really just that's it.
Yeah. Oh, so cute.
And no matter what the fandom is, and especially as a marginalized person, says we have within ourselves, even if the show does not have any symbolism, if there was no Jewish theories or symbolism or things that are straight out canon, I think we would still be here, because we would be like, I look at Sam and Dean and I relate to them, and I'm Jewish and I want them Jewish, so I see them as Jewish. That fandom will still be there. Finding your people and representation in fandom spaces is really important.
And people headcanon like any sort of characters as being Jewish or being, whatever part of culture that they are involved in, just because they really like this culture and they want, or this character, and they want to be like, they find little things and they, we imprint ourselves on these characters. And
yeah. How does the like general fandom do in terms of anti-Semitism? Like how's the fandom land generally?
It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter the fandom you are a part of. It doesn't matter if you are you're going to see it, you're going to face it, and I hope you never have to. I hope you never get to see it. So surprisingly, within Supernatural spaces, it's not something I come across way too much from within our own spaces. Most people are pretty chill.
That's encouraging.
More issues with like shipping wars. That we don't focus on that, So luckily,
I have things to worry about.
Too much. The most I've ever came across was I got an anon ask on Twitter, not Twitter, but Tumblr, telling me that like I was wrong because they're Wiccan. And I'm like,
I mean, I can see that, but
that's your head canon, and that's your belief in it. And fine, okay, for you they are Wiccan, but for me they are Jewish. Can we not do this?
Yeah, I don't like to argue head canons, but I can poke a lot of holes in that state.
Like,
to go out of your way to argue with someone about it, like
we can talk about Jewish witches all we want. So I mean,
that's a good afternoon to me.
That's the thing. So if you want to, erase one headcanon for another, do whatever you want. If you see the Winchesters or any character as who you are, they support that. So
yep.
Aaron Rose like duetted a TikTok of mine and then deleted it, and I want to know. Though somebody had like one of my friends was just like, I was in that comment section and there was some things that were said, so it might have been deleted
to get rid of the comment section.
It might have been for anti-Semitism, because she was like, there was some gross stuff that was like, if you scroll down to the hidden stuff, and so because of course when you do anything,
she just might not have wanted to see that in his day, and that's very valid.
Have it get back to like another Jewish creator, so because when you're Jewish on the internet, like people are just nasty as fuck. Like I don't do nothing. I'm not doing nothing. Like, and I I haven't posted on TikTok in a few months, like myself, but like whenever I do, because I'm not wearing my necklace today, but my necklace is the Star of David, like inside the anti-possession symbol, and like people will notice it and like they'll like say shit. When it comes to anti-Semitism within Supernatural, there's and very specifically in the fandoms. A lot of people in the fandom are writing fics and creating art that has to do with supernatural creatures and monsters and ideologies like theories and mythos and stuff like that. Please do your research on them, because a lot of times it's going to lead back to anti-Semitism, goblins and stuff like that. That is anti-Semitic. Both those things. And when you are online, a lot of people, like especially on TikTok, will follow accounts that also do stuff with like the paranormal and supernatural and occult, because it's just part of our interest. Please be careful with it. There's a lot of anti-Semitic dog whistles out there that might look innocent in nature and be like, oh, this is about, spooky, like going in the woods and looking for gnomes. That it's not gnome. And because a lot of our spaces intersect with like witchy and spooky communities. So
yeah.
Dark, but like I see it so much in supernatural spaces of people like be like, I'm researching for this fic, and there's this trend on TikTok, or I see it on Tumblr, and like that's not what you think it is. Please don't do that.
Someone we haven't talked about yet who is canonically Jewish in Supernatural is Rufus.
Rufus. I love Rufus. He is just such a typical like Jewish Zadie, like a Jewish grandfather. Like
representation that he is, though, because he's that is something that does not have a lot of representation. don't have a lot of representation in media. And so that is really, really cool.
I don't think I can even think of any other Black Jewish people in media in general. Like, it's hard enough finding Jewish characters, but yeah.
Much media, so I'm like, I can be like, oh, there's one in this show that's really popular right now. But Rufus is the only one I can really think of. And
that's kind of great, actually.
Great.
He's just an amazing character in general. He deserved more. We should have gotten to see him more.
But I think with the representation is what we really needed. Like, think of Jewish people. What are they? They are white. We are from all over the world. We are not just like Ashkenazi Jews. There's so many more of us. And Jews in every continent, in every country, we are everywhere and we don't look the same. And to see that representation, like one of my cantor is Black, and I know, like, because we've talked about Rufus because he liked Supernatural and just how proud he was to see that representation of himself. And I love that. My only thing that I have with Rufus is that Rufus is a Black Jewish man living in Vermont. So I can see Vermont from my house. Vermont, yes, it is like very accepting and very liberal and like Democrats and everything. Areas outside of the cities can be very conservative. And so for a Black Jewish man to be living in like middle of nowhere Vermont, like that dude must be having a hard time sometimes, But
probably, chances are.
How many Jews are even living in Vermont in general? Like, how did he end up there?
There's quite a few synagogues out there
right.
that I know of. Like, I know there's one like 13 miles from me just across the bridge. That it's not a synagogue. It's more like a
JCC.
No, it's a house. It's like a house that like Jews from all the area can just come and hang out at. So, but
if that works out, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's a pretty typical thing, I will say.
Yeah, like it's just a house. So there's not a synagogue. The closest synagogue to me, it's like an hour away, and so I think I'm gonna start going there just to
track.
But one thing I want to know about Rufus is so Aretha in the end there, and it's kind of like speculated that it's Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Convert. Like, is that a thing? Or did she quit? Like, we're not gonna say it's Aretha Franklin. Like, I know that's the headcanon. We're just gonna say Aretha. Did Aretha convert, or is she Jewish if she's not Aretha Franklin? Like, I want to know.
I mean, I hope so. Just for the like household that they would have together.
Dead people in heaven like have babies. I'm wondering how that works.
Years old.
Still, like in just general, like I don't know.
I mean, it's probably not. I feel like when you're dead, like there's got to be some limit on what you can do.
That doesn't make no sense. I'm sure they could like adopt a baby because there's no shortages.
Kids that died before their parents. Oh, it doesn't make me sad. Oh my gosh.
Like if
it's got to be children that don't have parents.
Some living parents had a stillborn, and some dead parents gain a child. Oh my god, it's
crying.
Or just some like, I hate to just be like, or some dead kids, but like there's kids that die and like their parents are still alive. Gosh, this is taking a turn.
That's what happens with us.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Why did I give a thumb? What was that?
Anyway.
With Rufus, I really think there's this ideal that, like, I think it's a really popular headcanon within the fandom is that when they were kids, Sam and Dean were at Bobby's house, Bobby would, like, teach him a lot of stuff that wasn't hunting. And I think Rufus would be like, okay, like, this is, like, we're learning, like, Hebrew today. We're going to talk about the Torah and, like, all this stuff. And, like, Bobby and Rufus putting on their first, like, Passover Seder. And, like, Bobby, like, I don't think I've never really headcanon Bobby as Jewish. I think he just is, like, whatever. But him like not knowing to do and like Rufus like fine, I will do it, and it's just just for the boys to experience their own culture, and I love that so much.
Yeah, I mean, if we're assuming that like Mary was Jewish and that they've been like removed from the culture, I feel like Bobby was like, oh, I know a Jewish guy, let's get these kids back connected.
Jewish guy, let's do this.
I feel like he would be like, yes, let's connect these kids back to their culture. Bobby's a problem solver. He's a man who knows people. Just seems like his thing.
His small town. And where is he from? North Dakota, something like that?
Yeah,
Sioux Falls, which is not a little town.
It's a real place, and it's a very big city. Like
yeah,
I've been there.
Like, so is Lawrence.
Lawrence, real. It's not a small town, but you know what? I'm sorry. It's gonna be so off topic Supernatural.
No, it's okay. You're here. We're talking. Whatever happens, happens.
In the best episode of all time, Tombstone. Dean says, like, to, like, Cass in that scene, that he has to act like they're from Tombstone because these big city cops, these small town cops don't like big city folks. Motherfucker, you come from a town that has less than 300 people. Like, I want you to get your mind on how, like, a very, very small town.
What?
You're wrong. It's a lot smaller. I have been out there. It is so small.
But okay, if you consider the fact that Sam and Dean grew up just driving around the whole country, they could technically consider the entirety of the United States as like a very big city.
Harris lived in Lawrence. He's from Lawrence, not like Lebanon. Like, they live in Lebanon. They were talking about like we are from. Dean was like, we are from, meaning they're talking about Lebanon. And like, you see Lebanon on the show, and it's like a fucking town. Like, it's not. It's not. So there's like houses and stuff, and there's like, you know, the geological center, which is where the bunker would be. There's also cows there, and there's a cemetery on the outskirts of town. But the town itself is like, there's like, you know, a four-way crossing. There's like a little park, the Bell, and then there's like a general store, what appeared to be like a whatever shop, and then there's like a post office, VFW, and then there's like an old gas station that's now the little visitor center, and like
all the things that you require.
the only public toilet, super small. But Dodge City is a little city. It's a little, you know, it's a big town, which coupled like 20,000 people.
That's my favorite. I love like 20 to 60,000 people. That's like that's a small city, large town. It's great.
Oh, I love Dodge City. I can't wait to go back. I didn't want to leave. I loved it. It was amazing. But yeah, no. So like, that's what bothers me. Is
there anything else you guys want to talk about? Baby, yeah. I'm down for that. Let's do that.
Is, you know, the episode that's shot completely in Baby. So this is symbolism within Supernatural, and I have this in the front of the house right now, and I don't want to get up.
Can you maybe just, you know, for some of our like people who don't know anything about Jewish culture, maybe explain what the movie says?
Okay, I just Googled it. Wikipedia.
Google that, Ben.
Just to get like the official translation. I mean, I could just grab one off my door, but I mean, yeah.
Get up and go get it, but I don't want to. But it is a little thing, like a little thing, and they can be decorative. It's a box.
It's a little box with a scroll inside of it.
Yeah, Google it for a picture. The listeners can use the Google machine and get a picture.
It's a box with a piece of parchment inside of it, and there's some Hebrew verses from the Torah on it, and it's basically a protection thing, like God is protecting over your home and like watching over your home, like that kind of thing.
Doorposts, like the door frames of every room except for the bathroom.
Because bathrooms are not holy.
I don't want God following me into the bathroom. I don't want God following me in there. So
bathrooms are not holy. You can't like do anything holy in bathrooms. You can't like say blessings on food in bathrooms. You can't bring food into bathrooms in general.
Well, you just should. It's not hygienic.
Yeah. No.
I don't care. I will bring food into the bathroom and like shower and like eat food.
You know what? If it gets the food in your body, it's good. But like, just as a general rule, you shouldn't have like a meal in there.
A scroll with like verses and prayer, and when you go in, there's one.
Incredible.
And they're tilted. Some people have them upright, some people have them tilted. It's just different cultures. And when you walk the door, it's you kiss, you know, you kiss your fingers, you kiss it.
Do you know why it's tilted? Because there was a disagreement on whether it should be stick straight like this or horizontal like this.
Like I know it's like we just were like, okay, we'll do this way.
And so the Jews, who can never agree on anything, were like, fine, we're just gonna slant it that way.
It'll be halfway in between or 50%.
Exactly.
If you ever want to read a book or books, there's so many of them, read the Talmud if you want to just see a bunch of old men bickering. It's so great. It's so great because like a general, my favorite thing in the world is like I don't know. That is the ultimate answer you're going to get from a lot of people. Especially like my rabbi. I love my rabbi because like whenever I ask her stuff, she's just like, that is a great question. I don't know.
I think that's been like my favorite thing about like just being in the Jupernatural Discord and like seeing everyone's conversations about
I don't know.
And about Judaism and like about very specific things. And like no one is ever afraid to say, I have no idea, but here's some places you could look, or here's some ideas of who you could ask. Like I think that's so great that like people aren't just going around pretending to know shit.
Thank goodness for my Jewish learning.
Yeah, we're very big on asking Rabbi Google things.
Like I've said here multiple times, like, well, I gotta Google this because I don't know. I can't say I know shit, you know. And
I really like that culture of not knowing things.
Neither of us are rabbis, so yet at least.
And even if we were, we would still be like, I don't know. Yeah. Like there's a library, you know. How many times I've asked my rabbi a question and she's just like, you know where the books are. Like look through the Talmud.
Go find the book.
The best one is when you stump your rabbi so hard that they'll be like, hold on, I have to go call my rabbi and find this out for you.
But so with Baby, so that symbolism, the mezuzah, you kiss, you go into house. This is home. You do not put this on a temporary home. This represents home. The J turn. He, kisses his fingers, put it on the dashboard.
And like the whole thing about that episode is like that is like the thesis of the episode is that baby is their home. Like
baby is home, and for him to do that is such coincidence. I don't give a shit. That is Jewish. That moment is the thing that solidifies Dean is Jewish for me, because he has a home. He lives in the bunker, but his entire life he was raised in that car. That car is home. And I think one big part of it is like, of course, temporary home. You don't put it on a temporary. That's not a temporary home. I think to Dean, the bunker is the temporary home. Symbolism with Claire. Claire's necklace kind of looks like a mezuzah.
Googled and I was like, yeah, like I couldn't find like a really focused shot on it, but I'm like, from afar, looking at these two pictures beside each other, they look the same to me.
That the headcanon is that she considers herself home for angels because of what happened to her. And then lastly is that I know we talk all day about how Cass heals Dean with the forehead touch. Sweet thing. Dean is his home. That is
so
home.
Cute.
That's so good. That is so cute. And I love that. And I love one thing that, like, if you've read any of my fics, something that I say in like half of my fics is when they kiss for the first time, that I compare them to a mezuzah, and that like, that the kiss like behind these lips holds the most holy of tech, And so that is just prevalent. Like, I just love the mezuzah symbolism. I'm thinking about like all the other symbols. Alistair. That they had him strung up to.
Yes.
David.
Oh my God.
Cass made that. And it's this giant Star of David. Like, I know Ben's immediately Googling it.
I'm Googling right now too, because we haven't covered that episode yet, so I haven't seen it at all recently.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to find like a good angle of it, because it's just a lot of like him zoomed up and you can't really see it behind him, but like kind of see it.
Oh, I can tell, like there's a full shot of it, but you can very clearly tell it's not a pentagram just from like the top half of it. Right. The angle's wrong.
I'm gonna have to go back to the scene and like screen record that part, but there's a part where Cass is talking to Uriel and it's in the background, and Cass talks about how he's the one that built that, and the light is shined on Cass, so you have Cassiel from this like the Star of David, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and I love it. So I just love that. I love that so much.
Like, who decided this?
I'm like, oh, okay, I found like a full shot. That is absolutely it.
It's insane.
My foot just came into camera. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Didn't even notice.
We gotta talk about Lilith.
Yeah, please talk to me about Lilith.
Lilith. Okay.
Pissing off some of your followers that might follow Lilith.
Yes, please. I'm gonna fight anybody who's rude to anybody, so.
So Lilith, if you only know her from, Witch Talk, she is not this like evil deity from hell, like demon succubus who's really cool and like cares about people. She ate babies. She is not to be worshipped. She is not cool. She ate babies.
Destroyer of children and seducer of men.
She ate babies. It's not to be worshipped. I mean, of course, if like that's your faith, like I'm not gonna stop you, but like I know from being from the culture that she is from, and also we are a close practice. She is from a close practice. If you are not Jewish and you are worshiping her, that's not cool. If there's like Jewish witches out there who are like, cool, Lilith, go off. But like she ate babies.
That really should be the line for morality. Like it's a pretty solid line in the same.
Like that's my if you're eating babies. So Lilith in Supernatural is like who she really was within the mythology versus the modern day view of her of just being like the mother, like this evil entity and this badass.
That baby eating bit made it in though.
Yeah, like this, like she's cool and like she's like grows up and becomes like this almost symbol, because that's what Lilith is in many cases. People see her as like the sex symbol because of the ideal of the story that she was cast from Eden into hell because she dared like want to be on top. Like fuck off, So I think like with her is a step away from Jupernatural, but didn't have her continue to be that like the witch talk era, not era, 'cause, like, I mean, TikTok wasn't even a fucking thought. But that ideology it wasn't that, but it also wasn't like the real thinking, and it was very interesting. I don't remember too much of her plotline because I hate it.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not super up on the witch talk. I didn't realize that like there was a bunch of people that followed Lilith as like a
ton. There's
I'm
a
really
ton.
not much of an authority on Lilith either, so like I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a
Lilith
thing.
is kind of
Flat out, I'm not an authority on it. So just right at the bat, like she's from a close practice. She is from Jewish mythos, and I think she is, and she's not cool. She ate babies.
I feel like you can't say it enough times, honestly.
So I know, like, when we talk about Supernatural, like, sometimes people will be like, oh, like, Lilith, like, I'm not an authority, Lilith. I don't think that, like, I think they just took her, like, the modern mythos and then the traditional and kind of blended the two almost and just made it their own. It's very much a vampire-esque type thing. Because when you look at vampires, Lore Lodge on YouTube, and I believe he has a podcast, he recently did a thing about this, which he does mention Supernatural in the episode about vampires and, like, there's the original mythos and the traditions, and then there's Dracula, which started the modern ones, and it's kind of like that, you know.
I just completely forgot about. We totally could have talked about Jewish werewolves because werewolves are like a Jewish thing.
We're not done. We have time.
Okay, great.
Jewish werewolves, bad.
I mean, I don't know much about them. So my name, Benjamin Binyamin, comes from Jacob's son, Binyamin, and he is theorized by some rabbi authority, whatever, to have been the first werewolf.
Oh.
The Wolfish Jewish Association goes as far back as the biblical Benjamin, who a medieval commentator, Rabbi Ephraim ben Shimshon, described as not just like a ravenous wolf, but capable of turning into a wolf itself. Notably, the rabbi's fear was not that Benjamin would kill others, but that he would change among strangers and be killed by them.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
This
That's a
theme
valid
follows
thing to worry about, I guess.
Yeah.
This theme follows through most Yiddish lore, Germany fairy tales warn children not to go into woods lest they be snatched. Yiddish folk tales warned readers not to go into the wood lest they be accused of snatching children and baking them into matzah, and then we get into blood libels, and that's a whole other situation. Yeah. Anyway, werewolves are Jewish.
I did not know that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I just really like wolves, and yeah.
I also really like wolves, and I've read a lot of werewolf-related things, and I had no idea.
My interest in werewolves is like the werewolves versus vampire things as a commentary on class. So, which very much also can like go into Supernatural and just in Judaism in general, this like commentary on class. Because werewolves are like of the people. You see them in like jeans and flannel, and they're like, you know,
versus Dracula and his castle,
versus vampires and like their castles and suits, and you know, even if like you can go as far as like look at Twilight and the colors are rich, where the werewolves are not, you know.
Yeah, on top of the other issues that Stephanie Myers brings to.
Oh yeah. So off topic completely. I just need to ask. Name this character. They literally ripped themselves out of a supernatural entity who ripped themselves out of their mother's stomach, nearly killing their mother or killing, depending on which one. They grew up super, super fast. They attached on to older people. They look much older than they actually are. They are super powerful, and due to their powers, a higher power came to destroy them. Is it A, Renesmee from Twilight, or B, Supernatural?
Oh no.
Yeah, see all of these above.
Oh boy. That's staying in.
It's all of the above.
That's staying in the episode. That's amazing.
So back to Jupernatural. Some random stuff. I think that there's just so much stuff that like, Ben, you want to just like start like giving out random shit?
We had that list. Hold on. Let's see what else there was.
I thought a fun thing we could do is talk about the Tumblr post of all of Dean's various uses of Yiddish words. We can maybe go through what they are.
Yiddish a lot.
Yiddish and Hebrew also, because he also does like Dayenu. I don't remember what episode that was, but
incorrect. Like he's trying to get his man laid, and he's like, Diane, motherfucker, shut up. He uses Yiddish a lot, and it's not just like, I think so. You probably use a significant amount of Yiddish in your day-to-day life, even if you don't realize. A lot of words are derived from Yiddish, or because that's how language evolved.
Yeah,
and so, but Dean uses some very specific things and like very specific ones. It happens a lot in like I know in even some things that like not just Yiddish and Hebrew, but like very specific things like the episode with the guy, the bird guy. I want to say Icarus, but it's not Icarus. Like that's what I'm imagining.
The guy who had his liver ripped out every day. That guy.
they were in, like, he was in bed. And Dean's like, I feel like I'm sitting Shiva.
Yeah, that was Prometheus.
Yes. Like he says that there's a lot of things. Dean's favorite musical is Fiddler.
Yeah, what is the
guy who wrote those songs just died.
Oh, that's
The
really
Fiddler on
upsetting.
the Roof. Yeah, I just saw it the other day.
Oh no. I will admit I know a lot about a lot of musicals. I don't know a lot about Fiddler.
I am ashamed to admit I've never seen it. It's a problem.
But super bummed to hear that the composer or music guy died. I did have a big vague idea that Fiddler was like a Jewish musical, like it was about Jewish people, but
I am going to stop myself from going on this massive rant on what it's about. But just know, Fiddler on the Roof is Jewish. It is Jewish through and through.
Written by and for Jews, and yeah, it's amazing.
Incredible.
It is Jewish. And Dean's favorite musical being Fiddler, like, for some reason I would be like, oh, Dean's favorite musical would be like Grease or some shit. No, it's not Fiddler. He's so Jewish. Dean's a Jewish American princess to me.
He says stuff like L'chaim.
I just say the word. I'm trying not to say this. Yeah. So JAP, it's pronounced that way. I'm not gonna say it because it can be a slur. It's like ABO. We put the dashes. We put that. So Jewish American Princess is basically what it sounds like. Just a spoiled rich Jewish girl. And I feel like Dean he's never been spoiled. He's never been rich.
No, but he has the energy.
He has that energy of one, you know? He has that energy. Oh, Dean knowing what J-Date is.
Yeah, J-Date is not something
Jewish
I
date.
knew about, but yeah, it's like
It's the
like,
Jewish dating app. It's like Tinder, but like not
like,
really.
but like
Jewish dating app. Who knows what J-Date is if they're not
yeah,
Jewish?
I feel like it's not like Christian Mingle. Like everybody knows Christian Mingle.
Yeah, well, because it's like on TV and stuff. Like it's the ads and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a pop culture thing versus like J-Date is not that. Like
No, another thing I just
Sure,
saw.
that says like I met my husband on Christian Mingle because it's funny, you know, being like, you know, being gay and stuff, like, funny. It's just pretty funny. Let's do through the list because
I just saw another thing that like Dean in the Inverse episode, he calls the little commune that they all live on a kibbutz.
Yeah, I don't know what that is,
face.
to be honest.
A kibbutz is started in Israel. They're like settlements that when the Jews were coming from Europe post-Holocaust, they would start these little farms basically, and it was places where people could come, learn to live on the land, safe places, that kind of a thing. They're still like going on today, like farms, and also like they have schools so you can like learn and work at the same time and just get life skills, kind of a thing. But yeah, basically communes.
And also for the accurate description of what the Inverse is.
Exactly. But again, like you didn't know that. Like,
That's a word I did not know.
Sitting there and like randomly Googling Jewish stuff. I feel like if you're just sitting there randomly Googling Jewish stuff, you are Jewish. 2, you are Jewish, and you are converting to the -is. You are converting, which I'm gonna be like, you are Jewish. Or 3, your partner or whatever is Jewish, and you're trying to learn. Aided with Judaism in some
way. Yeah, it's not just a word that you're picking up and throwing around.
Like where would he have learned all this stuff?
Exactly.
Especially considering the fact that he grew up just being shuffled around small towns that likely didn't have any Jews, or if they did, there was very little that he like would have even had the opportunity to interact with. Like, how else does he know these things unless he's Jewish?
I think a very big, we mentioned it before, like the relationship towards God and not, with towards Chuck is so, the idea of fighting God is just in the show. And Dean's reaction versus Sam, like I said, and Dean met with anger and up. Did you do this? And that is such like the idea of fighting God and having anger at God, But the thing that's really interesting to me is that throughout all of Supernatural, Jesus is never mentioned.
Not once.
Never once.
It's actually like off-putting.
The only time he's been mentioned within the canon of Supernatural is in past stuff like Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
like, oh, Jesus Christ.
But like, I feel like that has kind of just become like,
or, no, I'm Castiel, like from the Ghostfacers.
Yeah.
In the book, so the books are not canon, and I don't know what book it is. He is mentioned, and Castiel says that he was not the son of God, but a deity, a demigod, which those aren't canon. But within the canon, he's never mentioned once. And Jesus has nothing to do with it.
Straight up say that he's not the son of God is like, really towing the line for some Christians.
For the Christians, so
Yeah.
the demigods. So that's in the books, which is not canon. So the books are the New Testament, as to Supernatural, the Old Testament. Total different canon there. Total different thing happened. We do not follow Jesus. He is not a part of our canon. He is not a part of anything to do with us. That is completely separate. So our holy book, our Torah, it is the 5 books of Moses, and so that's what you would call
The Old Testament, yeah.
the New Testament. The New Testament is everything with Jesus and all of that. That is not us. We have nothing to do with that. That is not a part of our belief system. So for something to have such heavy Christian imagery within it and yet never bring Jesus into it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know.
Probably intentional so that they weren't as specifically leaning towards Christianity, because that's what the default is in the United States.
Yeah, and you have so many different faiths that are represented and seen within Supernatural. We have all these deities and all this stuff. And like, yeah, we have like the overhead of God, of Chuck being like the head of everything. But then you have like all these other ones, but you never see Jesus. You never see him mentioned. Though just if you're not up on your story of Jesus, the angel that came to Mary to tell her that she was going to be with child is Gabriel.
Yes.
I don't think I knew that.
I read a Sabriel fan fiction that was Gabriel telling Sam that story at Christmas time. It was very sweet.
I wrote a fic that I have never posted, which I probably should, where it's a retelling of that.
I think I remember us talking about that.
The one that he's Jesus' baby daddy.
Yeah.
I will say this feels like a good time to say that if anybody has any fanfics that they want to send through, specifically ones that are Jupernatural related in some way, send them through. Again, fill my inbox. I want food. I want fanfic. I want all of the things.
First of all, JJ's fics, I will recommend those with that, because
Dean's thing, because I'm not logged in on my phone.
Let's see if I have it. I feel like it's probably somewhere in the Discord. So I'm gonna see if
our friend Dean. What is Dean's pronouns, really quickly? So their AO3 is Arthur's Knight, spelled with capital ARTHURS, capital KNIGH. If you are into rare pairs, he has his main ship is Dean Gabriel, and most of his stuff is Jewish Dean. Let's see. A lot of really good stuff. I had to plug my 3 Steps Back box over on AO3, and 3 Steps Back is a part of a series called Settle Me Down. The last 2 are coming out. I know I took my sweet ass time. You were so excited this because you know what happened.
They might be they'll almost definitely fully be out by the time that this episode comes out, so it will be completed.
3 Steps Back is do you want me to tell you what it's about really quickly?
Yeah, you're here, please.
So it's a fix-it fic where after Cass is taken by the MP, Dean falls into a deep end. He becomes almost delusional and starts to look for ways to bring Cass back. And this is a 10-year long journey almost of him trying to find a way to bring Castiel back. That he has afterwards. It is a happy ending. Cass does come back. Just spoilers, it's like obviously. And then it's Dean and Cass's life together. Then there's also like the one that came from was the himbo fic, which is so where me and Ben and our friend Cass all met canons, and we just compiled them into a fic, and it comes from that. So that is Jewish. It's Jewish all throughout, and it's absolutely great. There's a lot of Jewish fics. I think even like To Build a Home, do you think Cass Jewish in that?
I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've definitely read that fic before, and I feel like yes.
So that's what I have. I haven't been reading fic lately.
I'm sure other people will have, and I know there's lots in the Discord I haven't read. But yeah, I'm sure other people will have recommendations.
I highly recommend anything written by Dean because it's great. And I know he just wrote a Dean Gadriel one that's coming out that I'm so excited for.
The cover looks so cute. I'm not a big Dean Gadriel fan at all, but I probably will read it just.
Like I don't really know, so I have a lot of things I like, but like Dean Gadriel is the one that I'm like, okay, hold on a second.
I don't like any ships where like it's like a villain who doesn't have a real like solid redemption arc and a main person, but like that is very much a personal.
Sam Lucifer. I cannot do Sam Lucifer.
I can't do Lucifer in anybody.
No.
But yeah, especially Sam Lucifer, like I can't do an abuser with the person that they abused. I just can't do it.
My line is like Sam Lucifer, like Lucifer anyone.
Yeah, I honestly sometimes I filter out. I don't even want him mentioned in the. I will filter out Lucifer entirely.
Questions about like Jupernatural stuff because like this is just all over the place.
I feel like we've gone through pretty much everything that was on like the OG list, and our Discord people didn't have any additional questions for us. We have been recording for like 2 hours almost. We've been like solidly recording for like an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, our headcanon that Dean's Hebrew name is tested.
Yes, please, let's do that.
Yeah. That's basically it. It means the same thing as Din. It means like righteous.
Incredible. And was there a reason why you
Tikkun Olam. So we need, if we're gonna finish off, we need to like the last thing we should talk about is the ideal of repairing the world. Tikkun Olam. So it is this ideal of healing the world. Let me find the exact Google definition because so I can give you a proper definition and not my rambling.
It's just about making the world a better place than where before you came onto this world, you make it better than.
Which is something that is brought up quite a lot in Supernatural.
Yes.
It actually is at the root. We can talk all day about what the root of Supernatural is, whether it is found family or the brothers or whatever. The root is leaving this world, making it a better place. It's kindness and charity and righteousness that has been at the root of it all. Dean Winchester and Sam Winchester were willing to defy God to make the world a better place. And that is Tikkun Olam. Who they are, it is what they stand for. And that is such an important part of who we are. You know, leave this world a better place. That is a mitzvah single day. I think that it's Tikkun Olam, and I feel like everybody should like really research that and see how it relates to Supernatural because that is just so good. It's the mental ideology that I think every religion and every culture has, you know, that be good, be a good person, you know. So that is so cool and that like relates to it. And I love my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
No, that was great. I think that was a great place to end. The actual last thing that we have to do before we do really wrap up for real is name this episode. Our naming convention is the one with this thing or the one where this thing happens.
The one with the Jews. I don't know.
Jews because it is not Jewish, you know. Back to like Aaron.
Sorry, you cut out.
Relate it back to Aaron.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Oak the papers. The thing that Golem says isn't a thing. It's like a hodgepodge. Yeah.
Okay, fun.
Yeah. Made anything, but yeah.
I wish that it meant something. I wish that it wasn't so hodgepodgey. But who even wrote that episode? Hang on, I never even looked it up to see who that was.
I know it's like in my head.
Season 8. Just watched it. It was like 12, I think, 13.
Probably put in the stuff because we have the post right here for Castiel's name.
Season 8, episode 13, written by Ben Edlund. That makes sense.
That makes sense. I was like, I have a feeling it was someone Jewish, but I just feel like we should confirm.
Like I said before, if this was not written by somebody who is Jewish, it would have been vastly different.
Vastly different, yeah.
It'd been vastly different.
Also, I think it's important to note that Aaron and his grandfather were both portrayed by Jewish actors, so yay.
Yes, that is very nice to see, and I feel like I meant to bring it up when we first talked about Aaron, but Adam Rose is very lovely.
I still have he still needs to answer for his crimes, but Sam's kosher. We never talked about Sam being kosher.
He's vegetarian. He's kosher.
So he's not vegetarian. He eats meat, but he does not eat pork. Think very specifically, that man is kosher. People will fight me because I'm like, Dean is kosher, my pics, like, off. But Sam is kosher. Like,
yeah, and like canon.
Like I know he just doesn't like pork and tries to eat healthy and like stuff. I'm sorry, but that man is eating salads at like diners because they don't have kosher meat. Like, that man to me is kosher, and you will never get me to like think otherwise. And that man was so excited when he got into the bunker because he's like, okay, like we can have all this stuff. How many ovens do you think the bunker has though? That's like my
many.
Giant fridge.
Oh, that's like 2 separate fridges, basically. Like,
they 100% sure have a Pesach kitchen. Like, you cannot convince me that they don't.
Absolutely do.
Yeah, that bunker is meant to like have so many people in it. Like that's not the only kitchen even. Yeah. It's the kitchen that they use, but it's not the kitchen.
It's a kitchen. Like, I also think that there's a Torah arc in the bunker. our synagogues, we have like
Like a
fancy
wardrobe.
cabinet.
Yeah,
Fancy cabinet for the Torah. So the Torah is scroll.
Yeah.
Scroll. Those are hand wrote too. Like they're written by hand.
Yeah,
It
they're
takes
not
a year to
mass-produced.
write, and if they mess up, they have to completely restart. Like can't
Oh, you're
erase
not allowed to
mistakes.
erasing anything? That's
No,
not a job that I would be entrusted to do.
no.
I
It
love
takes
to
a
be a
year.
scribe.
It's expensive as hell.
I like to make mistakes often and abundantly.
Be a part of it. And like I know some people, like many people, like when their synagogue gets a new one, they include their own, they with the scribe, they'll like do it. Have you ever done that, Ben?
I have not, but I've seen it. I almost did it because there was one at a synagogue near me on my birthday, and yeah,
We got to do it at my synagogue when we got a new Torah scroll. It was really, really cool. I think there's one somewhere in the bunker, but like
That would
I
make
had
sense.
canon, like I think like the scrolls are in there or not. But, like I think they use it. Like Dean just like hides stuff in there, and like he'll open it up one time. Like Sam, I think Sam's gonna be the one to open it up because I like more Sam's more observant and more like, okay, I'm gonna go read the fucking Torah scrolls now. And like Jack has like crayons in there, hiding like Uncrustables in there, and like Dean has like the cult in there for some reason. Like what are you doing? Like,
That's a really sweet headcanon, and I love that.
put that in the fic.
Yes, do it. It's in the fic now.
So I have a series of fic called the Destiel Himbo Power Hour, which is, like I said, it was like a collection of our headcanons that kind of became the cohesive story. You know, my silly little fic turned where Gabriel is a goose, ended up with like Dean put a gun to his head.
You know,
So
the full range of the supernatural headcanon experience.
I just posted a chapter. So they're like one shots, but in this cohesive story. And then there's like a side story that's like the serious stuff. And you can see Ben getting all excited. So Jack, it's like Jack in the morning and not knowing why he like says the Shema or wears kippah, because he is God. And why does he need to wear this? Or why does he say this prayer?
you gotta keep as a reminder that God is above you, and yeah,
When you're God, that's a little murky.
exactly.
Yeah, and so he goes to Dean and Cass is just like, I wear mine because I love you and I support you and I just think you are wonderful and you are my son and I love you. And this is a reminder of how much I love you. And Dean's just like, well, I wear it not as a reminder of God, but as a reminder of who I am as a Jew and to show other people that I am Jewish in that representation. And like Sam is just like, I don't know. I wear it to like pray and like synagogue and event. I don't know. Ask your other uncle. And he's like, I can't. Michael's not here. So he goes up to heaven and talks to Bobby. And Bobby's just like, I got some books for you to read.
Because that's Bobby's clear response.
Like, don't you have a rabbi? Like, and then Aaron, who's just like, that is a great question. That really is, but I don't know. Because the question isn't why do you wear a kippah? It's why do I, if I am God, wearing a kippah? And it's Golem who ultimately is like self-respect, you know, self-respect for yourself as who you are as a Jew and respect towards your fellow Jews. And because you represent them. And Dean's just being chill with it. And, you know, that Jack being chill with that.
Cass's answer is my favorite.
Yeah, like Cassidy is like, I love you, and I just think you're wonderful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's my job. It's my only job to observe the formalities of this podcast, and I was just like, what are we supposed to do now?
Any like specific questions about like Jupernatural or like even like being Jewish in general that might help you relate to it? Because I feel like we are just so chaotic with this.
Yeah.
No, I'm vibing with the chaos. I'm just gonna encourage our listeners, if they have questions, to ask them, and I will either pass them on or you know, they can probably find somebody that they know who they can ask, or you know, the internet's also free.
Yeah. You know, we're both on Twitter and stuff. I'm sunken_fox over on Twitter, and then I don't know what the podcast's Twitter's gonna be yet. I'll tell you later today. I'll switch it. I need to switch
It'll
the name.
be in the show notes, so I will.
Yeah,
it'll be in the show notes.
It's getting the name changed because nobody can pronounce fucking angel in Hebrew. I just say it's Malik. I say it's Malik because the show, like the Malik box.
That's how I say it, because that's how I've heard you say it.
It's actually pronounced Malach. Sound, but
like
It's not a natural sound for non-Hebrew speakers.
I don't expect people to be like, I'm going to pronounce it to the house actually now. I don't give a shit. But to make it easier, we changed it to the Judah Initiative, which I'm sorry. So Jupernatural, right? Jupernatural. The name of the fandom. Why aren't we called the Judah Initiative? It's right there.
Well, you've rectified that by now naming your podcast that, so...
and our server.
But my question, one of my biggest questions is the observance of Dean. How do you think Dean's Shabbat is going? I think he goes all out with dinner. He does the dinner. I think he's
Dean
very
does
much like
like
Dean.
food, so
He
that
loves
makes sense.
cooking.
I think Dean's Shabbat looks very much like mine, and that's I don't have electricity. I'm on the internet, but I'm doing everything else, and like it's more about food. It's more about community, more about like just enjoying and taking that rest. But how far is he going? Do you think Sam rips toilet paper on Shabbat?
Good question.
Okay, well, there's like an actual thing. Okay, you're not supposed to cut
You're supposed
or
to rip
anything.
Yeah. There was a little while where I was deep on Shabbat TikTok for a couple weeks. I don't know why.
It's a great place to be.
Very little knowledge of anything about
There's a
Judaism.
lot of really good Jews on TikTok.
I know a little bit about Shabbat. Like, very specifically, that's all I know.
That's the thing, and I think Sam does not do it. I think Sam,
I
like,
feel like he would be that.
I think Friday he's like going there and he's like, okay, this is how much I think I need, and like he's the only one that's doing it. I don't think Cass doesn't need to. I don't know about Jack. Does Jack poop?
I would assume so, but I think it's like because he only sleeps like a little bit. Like he doesn't sleep as much as normal people.
Do you think you can get around this via like what? Do you think you can get around this via like wipes? Because like you don't have to rip a wipe. Like they're individually.
Yeah, the wipes aren't always the greatest on your pipe.
That's true.
So,
but I feel
you
like
also
for
don't
one
flush
day
them. You don't flush them. You put them in like a little thing. But
We used to have a basket for it.
I feel like one day a week you could just go for it.
and like everybody in the house is just like, dude, like how much do you plan on shitting this
You
in
never
one
know.
day?
What if a guest is over?
What if you eat something wrong? What if you get food poisoning? Like,
Well, if a guest comes over, is that guest Jewish? If the answer is no, they don't have to do that. If the answer is yes, but they do not do that, they don't have to do that. We're not a monolith, like
What
I said.
if they do? Then like you want to be prepared. You want to be a good host. I get also
Bird,
the food poisoning issues also like that can just happen to you at any time. You never know. As someone with a very sensitive stomach.
Talking about food poisoning, kind of. Dean is lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Ben, are you
Jewish.
lactose intolerant? Are you lactose intolerant,
yes.
Ben?
Yeah, but I'm also allergic
I
to
am
dairy.
too.
It's a Jewish thing.
A lot of us are lactose intolerant. It's a thing. So, it's
All
a
the
very
Jews have
specific
belly issues.
Yeah, we got none as most as you though.
They get issues.
What did you eat yesterday? Was it cholent?
I actually didn't make cholent this week. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't eat anything.
Yesterday. So normally we have meat on Shabbat, so we don't eat meat and cheese at the same time, like meat and dairy.
Yeah.
Which again, pay attention to Sam. You're gonna notice it. So normally on Saturdays are for meat for me. Those are meat days. I ended up making side dishes only. I had cheese cubes, cottage cheese, and potato salad, all covered in shredded cheese. The curve tab.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You just finished telling us you were lactose intolerant. But that's honestly how every lactose intolerant person I've ever met. Like,
yeah. So once they got to the bunker, like they became more observant.
oh yeah,
Absolutely. I
believe that.
And
their eating habits change a lot once they're in the bunker and they have a stable place. Like it just like the very few times.
I mean, generally, it's very hard to be observant when you're just like driving around the country, not really having a real place to be. Not being fully settled somewhere.
people will fight me every day about Dean being kosher or not. I don't give it. Oh gosh, I gotta talk about Chris Kugel, don't I?
Cursed Oh, I forgot about that. I thought you were talking about like a person. I was like, who is that?
Chris Kugel. So fun fact, the bar that do you remember like in season the episode with the Benders?
Yes.
The bar is called like Kugel. So
Is it really? Oh my god.
yes. Which do you know what that is? It's like Jewish casserole. It's a Jewish casserole, and it's really, really good.
I don't think I knew what that was, but like I definitely knew the word. I think Kugel is my grandma's German, and Kugel is like a word for cake in German.
Yeah. It's a baked casserole type dish.
There's different kinds of kugel. There's like Russian kugel, which is noodles, and there's potatoes, which is like kind of a potato cake, and then there's like sweet ones with like apples and like
yeah. I've had kugel with apples like that.
Conversation that happens a lot in Jupernatural spaces. On most people will be like, Sam is kosher or kosher adjacent, because you don't. Not everybody who's kosher follows every single thing. They might not be able to.
When you're living on the road, it's hard. It's a tall.
Yeah, I don't have 2 ovens. I don't have money to go and buy 2 pans of everything. I'm just washing my dishes, my pans in between.
1 and 2.
So I have one pan that I use. meat and for dairy, I do not care. It's getting washed. I can't.
You're just not combining them. They're not touching each other.
They're not touching. God does not care. In my eye, God does not care that I don't have 2 pans because I can't afford 2 pans. The effort is there.
Yeah.
So in this conversation, everybody's like, okay, Sam, I can see. Cass doesn't eat. But he does eat. We never see him drink anything outside of alcohol, though. And
it's really not. He just does not require it.
But Dean, people will be so persistent that Dean not be kosher. And I'm like, it's my headcanon. It's my fix-it. I'm going to let him be kosher.
Yeah.
Because he likes bacon.
So,
but like,
and what does it matter? Like,
yeah, like, there's other types of bacon, you know? Who says he's eating pork? Because beef bacon is great.
I had turkey bacon the other day.
Bacon bits? Let's just, like, hear it out for bacon bits.
Not bacon at all.
No, it's kosher even. I know he's going to go get bacon, but we love bacon bits. It tastes like straight up dog food. So Cursed Kugel wasn't that I created, because I think like Dean trying to be kosher but not knowing, and like having this. Now I'm thinking about this. This is like really tragic of like Dean trying to have this connection with his culture through food, because food is so big within Judaism and culture. Name a holiday, name a fucking holiday, and I'll be like, okay, this is what we do.
Except for like Yom Kippur.
Yeah, we don't eat that. We don't eat that.
Is it eating after like a big deal?
Yeah, and before.
A lot of our holidays is this happened to us, let's eat.
Yeah, it's they tried to kill us, they didn't, let's eat. Or they tried to kill us, they didn't, or they did, let's not eat. Like, that's our thing.
Okay, so you're going to go down to KFC. But KFC actually sells this now, but I don't give a shit. You can go down to KFC, you're going to get the largest macaroni and cheese, right? You're going to get chicken tenders, and you're going to get mashed potatoes and gravy, with gravy on the side. You're going to go home and you're going to get a glass casserole dish, and you're going to put that mac and cheese in there, and then you're going to take the KFC chicken strips and you're going to cut them up. You're going to put them in there. You're going to bake that, and then halfway through, you're going to take it out, you're going to bake that with the and extra noodles on there too. You're going to bake that. It's going to, when you're like nearly like 40 minutes into it, you're going to take it out, put that gravy on top of it, and then put it back in for 5 minutes. This is Cursed Kugel. It is not Kugel. Do not get me wrong. This is not kosher. This is a mixture of meat and dairy. I will die on the hill that I think Dean has made this at least once and presented it to the table, and it being like, oh, it's Kugel, it's kosher, and Cass being like, this is not kosher. Like Sam and Eileen are just like, we need to talk about Eileen. Eileen is Jewish.
I absolutely agree.
Eileen is Jewish. She is played by a Jewish woman. She is Jewish.
I love
her
so much.
Oh my god, we forgot Eileen.
I think the Supernatural show in general forgot about her too.
They should have forgot her. They should have taken her name out of their mouth.
I love her.
I love Eileen. Eileen's in my top 3 favorite characters.
Oh, she's great. I love her so much. She's Jewish. She's Jewish. You can. I don't. Even if she wasn't played by a Jewish person, she would be Jewish. She just irradiates Jewish energy to me.
You said Eileen in that context. I was like, yes, absolutely. I've never thought about it before this moment, but I was fully on board.
Like the Cursed Kugel, though, I think everybody would hate it except for Jack and Dean. And Jack's like, this is absolutely delicious.
It sounds amazing.
This is every single thing that a fucking toddler would eat.
It is amazing.
KFC here doesn't do mashed potatoes, but I would absolutely eat that.
I mean, you could also totally modify it to be kosher. Like, you could use like fake chicken nuggets. Like, I think that would be really good with it.
Do fake chicken nuggets. You never sacrifice the cheese. Never sacrifice the cheese. Never sacrifice the cheese.
I think that would be my hardest thing.
But I think like Dean, whenever he eats stuff, he doesn't want to give up certain things to like becoming kosher. I think Dean becomes kosher later on in life, and like he doesn't want to give certain things up, and so he'll go to Jack and be like, "Hey man, like this place has a bacon cheeseburger on the menu," and Jack's just like, "Deal, it's done. That one burger is kosher."
I mean, if not dad of God, then why bother?
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? Like,
parent God, you know,
send me
you
to
should
hell,
get
like, I'll
the
ground you.
occasional cheeseburger out of the deal.
What are you gonna do? Like, you know, like he has this power of being able to, you know, ground God, but he doesn't want Jack to become like Chuck and use his powers that way. But he's like, can you make this bacon cheeseburger kosher for me? Like, can you do this for me? Like, sure. Like, can we just like fix fix these things. How not safe for worker can we get on here? Because I have one thing that I need to talk about.
We can get pretty not safe. I can always cut it later if I deem it too far.
About the foreskin hypothesis.
I don't know what that is, but I'm on board to talk about it.
Okay, so within Judaism, on the 8th day, AMAB or male Jewish people are circumcised. When Dean comes back from hell, he says that he doesn't have a scar on. Now, even if he's not Jewish, he more than likely is circumcised, depending on the time and where he's from. He says he don't have a scar on him. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a circumcised penis, but there's a scar. Did he get his foreskin back? Did Cass re-foreskin him?
I feel like the answer is probably no. I feel like Cass would respect that, but who knows? I mean, the tattoo is in place still, so like...
But the tattoo is a protection thing.
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna ask that, I mean, what about his belly button? Does he have a belly button?
He did have a belly button.
Yeah.
He does. So does he still have a foreskin?
So I'm gonna say yes, probably still circumcised.
I have this, like, do you remember, like, when I really wanted to do it, but you remember that trend on TikTok with, like, the red light? And not the people being sexy in the back, like, the red light.
Yes.
But something fun, what sleep paralysis monster things. I really want to do a TikTok of, like, Jack, like, being, like, 8 days old, just, like, chilling in the bunker, like, discovering being alive and, like, fully grown. And then it's just red and Dean with a big pair of scissors.
No. Poor Jack.
No, I don't think they would do that. I don't think they really give a crap, so... Is Jack Jewish? Is he Jewish because he's a Winchester? Because he's the son of Castiel? But his real and his biological father is Lucifer. But like Kelly is Christian.
Yeah,
like she's thematically very Christian.
Very Christian.
So is he Jewish or is he not? I think he's Jewish. I will die on the hill if he's Jewish.
I feel like if Jack can just choose to be Cass's kid, then he can probably just choose to be Jewish because Cass and Dean and Sam.
I think he's just like, yeah, like, is he Jewish? Like, that's the thing. Like, we can say, like, oh, Sam and Dean are Jewish because here's the evidence of their lineage, and they are literally biblical characters, and like, name a biblical character that's not Jewish, especially like stuff within the Torah, the Old Testament. But here we have a kid who, yes, his biological father is an angel, yes, his dad is an angel, but his mother is Christian, and he is not. Is he just Jewish because he's God?
I mean, he converted.
I was talking about how I think Dean was going to show up after 8 days, like, snip, snip, motherfucker. Jewish. Yes. The answer is yes.
The answer
Name
is
a character in
yes.
Supernatural, I'll be like, that is Jewish. That person's Jewish. Except for Cole. Cole is not Jewish.
Just Cole.
Cole can, like, the Steins, the Thule, they can't be Jewish.
No, obviously. Everyone else.
Everyone else, Jewish.
All the good people. Charlie.
Jewish. I think Sam in college had a little moment where he became a Jew for Jesus.
Jess doesn't strike me as super Jewish. I don't know.
I'm just saying Jess is a Jewish name.
That is also valid.
She's Jewish.
I said it and then I thought about it for like another second. I was like, actually, no. I disagree with my own statement.
Jewish. That is a Jewish dog.
Miracle, yes.
Jewish. Who else is Jewish?
I have a question. I feel like one of you at least has a dog. Do you dress your dog up with like various articles of Jewish clothing?
Ellie I have a few shirts for Ellie that have like, she has a Hanukkah shirt.
I know Build-A-Bear has like Jewish regalia. They have like a tallis and a kippah for bears. I'm sure there's somebody who makes it for dogs too.
She has like some toys around like Hanukkah and stuff. I got like a couple of shirts and like sweaters that have like a menorah on it or like stuff like that. She has like little toys and stuff. She has a little unicorn with like a Star of David on it. And
so
I got her
cute.
2 of them. And like within the first hour, she ripped it apart. And I'm like, anti-Semitism. But yeah, no, yeah, she has some Jewish stuff for her.
When we have had dogs, we put like our dog with the little Santa hats and like.
I think they would absolutely dress Miracle up. But like very specifically, I think they're going to put like, I think Dean and Cass got into an argument once about putting a giant menorah on the car. And they ultimately did.
That's so mean.
They did. Some people, have you ever seen that? People put like giant menorahs on their car.
I've never seen that, but I love that.
Big Ben.
Every year.
I will judge you forever for that. I'm supposed to I promise you this upcoming Hanukkah, I will send you the cowboy hat menorah that I need to make for you.
That's cute.
Ellie, do you have anything to say as a Jewish dog about Miracle being Jewish? No, you're just going to lick my leg? Okay. Okay, you're licking my arm. That's okay.
Okay, for real, we've been recording for over 2 hours. Editing this is gonna be so fun. But okay, is there anywhere that you want people to maybe find you on the internet if they haven't already, that you haven't already said?
My Twitter is Lasers Rising. That's also, yeah, and then my AO3
Oh, yeah, it is.
Tumblr is I Am the Empty.
Incredible. I will have to follow you on both those places because I don't think I do. Again,
Actually, really good. You're also like not really in like fandom spaces as much as like we are, and it's like your life must be so unchaotic. Like you just like found your people. You sound like the chillest people. Like this is it, you know.
I'm more active in like Discord, and that's it. Oh, Dean is trending apparently on Twitter.
Oh, that's nice. I'll have to invite you to our Discord, so you can, if you want to hang out with people there, then you can. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming and really, I mean, carrying this episode.
It's going to be like your most chaotic episode.
Chaotic is good. We were learning. I learned.
I know the next time I'm going to be on for a chaotic episode because I'm telling you right now, when you in 20 years, this is so long off. When you get to Tombstone, if I'm not in that episode, like I guarantee you, I'll probably be in the like that's going to be so chaotic.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun. I love that episode so much, and I can't wait for you to be a guest.
I mean, I don't remember any like specific episodes that like jump out at me that I would want to be on, but like I would definitely come back for like the Jewish episodes if you want.
Incredible! I would love to have you both back for those as well.
That is every single episode.
Okay, but like specifically like the ones with Aaron and stuff like that.
Aaron,
like, that
like the
one thing that like I think people need to, because like of course this is all over the place. One of the big things about Jupernatural is that when you get down to every single episode, you're going to find stuff, even if it's just a way of thinking.
Yeah.
Way of thinking, or you know, random lore, or a tiny word or symbol that is said. It is riddled throughout this entire show, and so a lot of the major things is like what we've been talking about. But a lot of the things that really solidify it is these little tiny, the barn being filled with Star of David. tiny little things, but it just solidifies that, you know. And I love being Jewish, and I love combining the two.
I hope that our listeners also either enjoyed this episode because they're also Jewish and they also have thoughts about this, or if they're not Jewish, like learn stuff and go on to have thoughts. I feel like I've thought so much more about it.
A really good place to learn a lot of stuff is My Jewish Learning.
Ooh, that's good.
One, if that's just type in anything, My Jewish Learning, and you're going to find something.
I will maybe link that just generally in the show notes as well.
So you're going to get a lot of information from there. I use it all the time. I think it's like one of my most visited sites when researching stuff. It's a good one out there because My Jewish Learning isn't like connected to like one specific denomination.
So I have
they discuss different opinions and stuff like that.
Vast amount of information.
Like
nice.
a couple of different major denominations, and they're not really associated with one. And other ones you're going to get are the other really big one is more like Orthodox. So whatever flavor you are, whatever flavor you're looking for, you might get a different answer, but that's a good place to go learn about stuff. And they have stuff on like spooky stuff.
That's fun. So, I will definitely link that in the show notes so that people can use it. Next week we're going to be back with season 4, episode 5 monster movie with Beth and Jamie. So that's always fun. People love when Beth and Jamie are here. I love when Beth and Jamie are here. Okay, let's stop recording. I've been KJ, and this has been Supernatural Opinions. If you enjoyed our show, the best thing you can do is subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell a friend. Check out our link tree in the episode description for all of our social media and any other Supernatural-related projects we might be working on. Send us an email. Our address is supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, or reach out directly at KJ, @EditingKJ on all platforms. Thank you to Joe Veretta for our theme song, and our logo was created by Faith Ebert of faithanddesigns.ca. The episode was recorded, edited, and produced by me, Editing KJ. If you want to hear more from me, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions. And last but not least, a huge thank you to all of our guests.